Welcome back. Now, if you're a mystery buff, then you will love our next guest. WALB's Pining is a podcast that sole purpose is discussing South Georgia's biggest mysteries. Here to give us all the details is WALB anchor and Pining podcast host, Jamie Worsley. Welcome back to the show, Jamie.
Thank you so much for having me, Candace. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, absolutely. I'm excited to hear about this podcast. Now, again, I know you all aren't brand new, but what made you all want to start this?
Sure. So we are about 10 episodes into Pining right now, and this love of true crime started for me when I was about 13 years old. Actually, if you listen to Pining episode 3, The Seller's Curse, you'll hear a little bit about how I got started in this realm. A dear friend of my father's was actually murdered in Richland, Georgia, and her case intrigued me from the very beginning. Again, probably 11, 12, 13 years old, researching cold cases like hers, looking at newspaper clippings and reading books. So I should have known then that this was going to be kind of the path that I chose to take, but then I began to consume true crime materials and realize that there's so few podcasts that are actually focused on the victims in these cases. And so that's exactly what I wanted to do with the platform Pining. I wanted to tell stories of missing and unsolved homicides and, give the victims' families that platform to where we focus less on the gore and less on the details of the suspects or those convicted in these cases and focus more on the families and those affected and the legacy that those who were either missing or who were murdered left behind.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, as you mentioned, you all have already done about 10 episodes.
Yes.
What are some of the bigger stories you all have covered that people can go back and check out?
Sure. So again, it's hard to say which ones, I feel the most drawn to. However, I would say definitely the very first episode, which focuses on the Jessica Dietzel case.
Okay.
I started here at WALB almost 7 years ago, which is hard to believe, and that's one of the first cases that kind of caught my attention. Jessica Dietzel went missing and has never been seen again. She was a young mother, and her case just really appealed to me because we were about the same age.
Wow.
And we both have children, and so I can't imagine, the heartbreak of her mother and her family and her daughter.
Yeah.
And so that case definitely is one that's near and dear to my heart. The Seller's Curse, of course, episode 3 is where I got started in this industry. And then some of the more recent cases, we've actually added a video podcast element. And so that is really interesting, and I think our viewers will really enjoy watching them as well.
Yes, absolutely. Now, what do you hope this does for the families of the victims?
Well, I will say this. I actually have been working with legislators and our local representatives and senators to see about even getting some legislation passed in support of families who either have missing loved ones or are still looking for answers in unsolved homicide cases. I feel like this legislation is needed here in the state of Georgia. We've seen some other states across the South start to adopt these types of legislations, either requiring updates from law enforcement and investigators every so often, or databases where families can enter information. And so I would love to see that kind of take off here. Again, I've been working with Senator John Ossoff's office and other local reps. So at the end of the day, that's what we want for these families. It's closure. And if anything, at least, to feel like there's some movement in their cases.
Absolutely. Now, okay, Jamie, very quickly, where can people submit a case that they would like for you to talk about, and where can they listen?
So if you go to WALB.com and to the WALB podcast title at the top of our website, there is not only my email information where you can submit a case, but it also will show you where you can listen on our website and all of our streaming platforms.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. I really hope everyone at home checks out Pining. So thank you again, Jamie.
Thank you, Candace.
Yes, absolutely. And all right, South Georgia, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. But before we go, let's check